Good morning, everybody. Welcome to That's Baseball, Erika. I am your host, Erika, where we talk everything and anything Yankees baseball. Spring training is here. We've got storylines. We've got things to overanalyze. We got things to underanalyze if you want, But nonetheless, we have baseball news. I mentioned about number one, the biggest thing going on right now is that the Yankees could grow some facial hair. I am a huge fan of it. Let me know if you guys like it or not. I did post a short with my thoughts on it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share these videos. We're going to be doing these more often. I'm really excited, but let's get down to it. So spring training is here. We've already had 2 games. We had the game on Friday, and we had a game yesterday. Today there is another game. Couple things going on, so that I just want to mention really quick. First game, what I like to see is that we are seeing a lineup get mixed around, potentially what we may see during the regular season, being Jason Dominguez was in the 1 spot. You want to see how he looks in that spot. You know, he could be a potential leadoff guy. I personally don't think that he is going to be the leadoff guy to start the season, but you never know. He might have an amazing spring training, and almost kind of like Volpe, where you're just like, well, we got to start him, right? So yes, you're seeing Jason Dominguez in the leadoff spot in the first game. Cool. That means that's in Aaron Boone's head. My dogs are playing in the background, of course. Now this is what we're gonna do. Number 2 in game 1 is Stroman started. Stroman pitched only 1 inning. He gave up 2 hits, but he didn't look bad. Just interesting that they go with Stroman on the first game, especially with all the hoopla and drama that is surrounding him. Is he even going to be a Yankee at the end of spring training? Do you guys think he's going to be a Yankee by the end of the spring training? Or do you think that he's going to be our 6th man? It's important to have extra arms, considering that, you know, the Yankees starting pitchers get injured. Like, it just happens. We saw it so much last season within the Yankees and throughout MLB. So is having Marcus Stroman there as a 6th guy, as a emergency arm, especially a dude that can eat innings, is it important to keep him? Is he more important than or valuable than what you can get back? I personally think so, unless what you're getting back from Marcus Stroman is a solid third base option. But I think that ship has sailed. I don't think that Stroman can actually get a third baseman or a viable third baseman option in exchange. I think at this point you're going to have to start Peraza or DJ. I am hoping Peraza wins out. So we saw him actually start as well. Game 1, he was in that lineup. So Yankees are already mixing things up. After Stroman, Will Warren came in. That's another guy, another depth piece for the Yankees. He looked great. That first inning his stuff was nasty. He came out for a 2nd inning. He wasn't as sharp, but he still got the job done. Didn't give up any runs. His stuff looked nasty, and another very important depth piece for the Yankees. You know, so Yankees end up winning the game 4-0. You know, you had Jason Dominguez work a nice walk, his first at bat. You had Paul Goldschmidt hit it was a double that turned into a triple or whatever. Cody Bellinger got a dribbler through up the middle. So, you know, you're seeing a couple things. Again, first game of the season, a couple at bats. We're going to overanalyze what we can overanalyze. And, you know, ideally, if you could see that throughout the season, you would love it. The Yankees end up winning that game 4-0. There was a couple injury updates with, unfortunately, Chase Hampton. He was invited to spring training, and the Yankees were excited to see what he had. Unfortunately, he was having issues with his UCL, confirming that he needed Tommy John surgery, which he actually already got done. He went to New York to see what was going on, and they just did the surgery right there. So maybe we'll see him in 2026. Best wishes to him. And yeah, there's still obviously Giancarlo. Boone acknowledged the Giancarlo situation. He said that, so Giancarlo's been dealing with this since last year. I guess it was just very painful to work through during spring training, so they shut him down. But it might sound like, or it does sound like, he's going to be working through this throughout the season, Whether that affects him or not, considering what he looked like in the playoffs, and if he was dealing with that in the playoffs, then he has the potential to mind over matter it and unlock a beast. But yeah, hopefully he can get well soon. I do think the Yankees will be okay in the meanwhile, playing merry-go-round with that DH slot. You're going to give Judge a couple days off his feet. You're going to give Goldschmidt days off his feet. Bellinger can be slotted into the DH. You can even put a guy like Wells, if he's hitting to the potential that we know that he can hit, and you want to give him a day off behind the plate, but you don't want to take him out the lineup, you can slot him there as well. So we will be monitoring that situation closely. Then there was the game yesterday. They traveled to Toronto's facility, and again, you saw a couple names in that lineup that you're interested in seeing how they could produce during spring training. And then you had Carlos Rodon starting. Interesting situation there. Again, a lot of talk around Rodon's start. But first and foremost, Ben Rice was catching. That's going to be interesting. What are we going to see from Ben Rice this season? Is he going to be on the roster? Is he going to be a backup first baseman? Is he going to be the backup catcher? Interesting. But we saw him behind the plate. He looked pretty decent. Spencer Jones was in the lineup. And talk about like a carbon copy of Aaron Judge's swing. I don't know if you guys have seen his swing, but it is identical. It's like you took Aaron Judge and you literally just flipped him. The leg kick, the position of his hands, the way that he follows through, like it's insane. But that's a hell of a, if you can find success in Aaron Judge's swing, that's the swing that you want to emulate, because obviously he is the best offensive hitter that we've seen in quite a while. But yeah, Spencer Jones is in the lineup. Dom Smith, I guess that's another potential DH option. He was obviously known to be on the Mets. He plays first base, so we're going to be paying attention to him as well. And yeah, the story of yesterday's game was Carlos Rodon. He didn't look great. He's obviously working on some things. You scroll through Twitter and you would think that he is a waste of money. The Yankees made a horrible, horrible signing with him. Has he been average? Absolutely, especially after the first season. Looked awful. But remember, guys, last season, it was a bit inconsistent, but it was much better than what we got the first year, and it was a pretty solid year. He went 16-9. He had an ERA under 4. Granted, it was a 3.96, but it was under 4. He had 195 strikeouts. I believe he had only like 57 walks. So he has the control. He's not walking a lot of guys. It's a 2-to-1 strikeouts to walks ratio, if not more. I'm not good at math. Yeah. Now the problem is that in the postseason, he didn't look too high. He had one good game against the Guardians, I believe it was, and the rest of it was just straight up poop. But that's why he went out and got Max Fried. That's your solidified number 2 lefty guy in the rotation. And I think that that's why Cashman made that move. I think he knows that Rodon isn't going to be this dominant elite starter that you can rely on, especially if you're going into a playoff series where you need a 3-man rotation. That's going to look more like Cole if he stays healthy. It'll be Cole, Fried, Heel if Heel can replicate what he did last season. Rodon will either come out of the bullpen, or if he does really well this year, that's a 4-man rotation in the playoffs. That's something that a lot of teams don't have. A lot of teams don't even strive for. Most of these teams have, play like either bullpen games or they pull their starter after 4 or 5 innings. The playoffs is just, they're built different. So I am not going to... It's spring training. I'm not going to look into this Rodon start and think that this is what we're going to get the rest of the season. We know what we got last year. He looked really good at times. You can tell that he was working on his breaking pitch yesterday. And it's his first outing of the season. He's not going to look absolutely dominant. He's got to work through some things. So I'm not worried about it. Do you guys think that he was an overpay? He's making $27 million a year for 6 years. He is the 8th highest paid pitcher in the MLB. There are a couple of stinkers up there. You got a guy like Jacob deGrom that got signed by the Rangers, and he hasn't even really pitched for them. but he's making 8th most among all MLB starters. So do you believe he's overpay? Let me know in the comments below again. And yeah, so today the Yankees are playing the Tigers. We are not going to see Gleyber Torres, unfortunately. He is not in their starting lineup, but we are seeing another shakeup of the Yankee lineup. Now we're seeing another side or another potential leadoff guy for this year, which is Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm is leading off today for the Yankees. Who would you choose? Do you want Chisholm or do you want Jason Dominguez in the leadoff? I think that it's going to start with Jazz Chisholm. I think that he's going to be up there. So you want a guy in front of Judge that is going to get on base. He's, going to be able to steal base, get into scoring position for Aaron Judge. And a guy like Jazz Chisholm can't do that. Only thing is Jazz Chisholm does strike out a lot, and he really needs to work on that. When he came in, I believe they were like, oh, he has a great eye. But I saw him strike out a ton of times last year, and I just don't know if that's going to be good in front of Aaron Judge. Is Aaron Judge just going to hit a bunch of solo shots again this year like he did the year prior to Juan Soto getting here? See, Juan Soto and Judge will never be replicated again, whether that's for Soto on the Mets or the Judge on the Yankees. It's just not going to happen. Those were two, you had a generational guy and a superstar back to back. And what Soto was able to do for Judge and Judge for Soto, again, you're not going to be able to replicate it. But you got to get close to it, right? So it's going to be interesting who they put in that leadoff spot. It might not be Chisholm. It might not be Dominguez. I think the Volpe project for him being in the leadoff spot, although I was a huge advocate for it, unfortunately it didn't work out. I can admit that I was wrong. It's okay. But yeah, I think it's one of those two guys. So yeah, you're going to see Chisholm leading off today. Goldschmidt again. See what his follow-up game looks like. Bellinger in the 3-hole. Dominguez is the cleanup hitter. That's another potential position or spot for him while Giancarlo is gone. And if his bat is what everyone is saying it's going to become, Volpe's in the 5 spot at shortstop. You have JC Escada. He is DHing. That's another interesting bat to look at. They've been talking him up on Yes, the announcers, saying that he's got a lot of upside. He looks great, but he's never been in the MLB, so a little different up here in the big leagues. But that he's looked good, really good defensively, and he's always had a bat. So going to be watching that closely. Then you have at catcher, you have Alex Jackson. Right field, you have Duke Ellis, the Duke Ellis. Remember that guy? Remember all of that hoopla last year with him? And at third base, again, you have Oswald Peraza fighting for his job, or at least trying to steal a job from DJ LeMahieu, who hasn't proven anything. I hope Oswald shows out this spring training because we have a third baseman that has not proven anything in the last 2 years. I understand his track record. I understand his potential 2 years ago, but that's it. Rip the Band-Aid off, Yankees. Prove me wrong, DJ. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let's discuss some of the topics that I mentioned maybe today, and your feelings on it. Also, go to Twitter, follow at Walls of Erika. Instagram, follow That's Baseball Erika. I'll be throwing some stuff up on there too. I'm planning on doing some lives. Maybe I'll do a live during the game today. I don't know. But either way, thank you for watching. And as always, let's go Yankees.